Okay, welcome back. All right, we're reading The Magic Treehouse, Leprechaun in Late Winter. And today we are on chapter 10, Fare Thee Wells. So again, if you have the book, you can follow along with me. And if you don't, just use your listening ears. Both cases, you should be visualizing, right, as we read, using the author's words to make connections, not to make connections, to visualize, right, create images in your head. That helps you make a movie. Think about the characters, think about what they're doing, right? So that you are staying focused and the story is making sense to you. Make connections along the way, right? Things that you can relate to, the feelings, the characters, the events, and it could be things to your personal life, things that you've seen, on another show or another book, on the news, and making predictions about what you think is going to happen and always having I wonders, things that we do naturally. So, chapter 10, page 95, Fare Thee Wells, right? So they just got back out of the Hollow Hill. Jack and Annie almost got turned into skunks. The crowd was rough, and Jack got a little bit impolite quickly. But all's well. They're out. They're safe. Augusta's happy. She has a mission. So let's see what happens. Because remember, he made promises that he knew he wasn't going to be able to do, that he's going to have to deal with, right, when he comes across Willy. So I'm not sure how that's going to go. I wonder how that's going to go, right? And some of you may have some predictions. So let's get started. Well, that was simple and direct, said Annie. Yeah, Jack felt dazed. Augusta looked at Jack and Annie. I saw them, she said. Her eyes were wide. I finally saw the she. I really saw them. She burst out laughing. Her laughter was so full of joy that Jack and Annie started laughing too. I saw them, Augusta kept repeating. I saw the she. And now I have important things to do. Yes, you do, said Annie. I must learn the old language. I must start gathering stories at once. That's what the Queen told me, said Augusta. I can't wait to visit the old storytellers. There's Mary Sheridan and Biddy Early, too. I'll start with Mary. Let's go see her right now. Hurry. Will you come with me? Hurry. Sure, said Annie. But just a second. She turned to Jack. What about Willy? Who's Willy? Asked Augusta. A friend of ours, said Jack, looking around. I can picture how Jack's feeling, like, is he around? Maybe he forgot about us. He'd said he'd wait for us, but where was he going to wait? Willy! Willy, called Annie. Well, I guess he's still somewhere on the other side of the river, said Jack. That's too bad, said Annie. Yeah, said Jack. Come on, let's go see Mary now, said Augusta, grabbing Annie's hand and pulling her along the way. Jack looked around for Willy one last time. He was sad about not seeing the leprechaun again. See, that shocks me. I thought that he would be happy about. That's good. But he was a little relieved, too. He knew that he couldn't keep his part of the deal, teaching Willy how to play the magic whistle. Come on, Jack, cried Augusta. Jack followed the two girls through the wet meadow, over the stone wall, down the dirt lane, and across the muddy field to Mary Sheridan's cottage. Mary, Mary, Augusta called. She dashed ahead of Jack and Annie. She didn't even stop to knock. She threw the door open of the cottage. Oh, she said, freezing in her tracks. Jack and Annie caught up with Augusta and looked inside. Mary was sitting in the front of her fire. Next to her was a small man wearing a green jacket and had a three-cornered red cap with a white feather. Willy, cried Annie. Annie and Jack hurried past Augusta to the cottage. You're here, said Jack. Of course. I said I'd wait for you, said the leprechaun. I see you found your dear friend and you brought her home. Good work. Augusta stood in the doorway, gaping at Willy. Who are you? She asked. Name's Willy. Just plain Willy, said the leprechaun. I usually leave before you visit Mary. But now that you've seen the she, I suppose there's no point hiding from you anymore. Are you real? Asked Augusta. Who knows, said the leprechaun. Maybe I'm real, maybe I'm not. Maybe you're not real. Depends on which one of us asking the question. Everyone laughed. Good point, said Annie. Well, we'd better be getting home, said Jack. He wanted to leave before Willy asked Annie for the whistle lesson. Jack took Annie's hand and started backing toward the door. "Thanks for helping us, Willy," he said. "Yeah, and thanks, Mary, for everything," said Annie, waving. "Goodbye, Augusta. Goodbye, everyone." "Wait just a minute, my friend," said Willy. "Uh-oh," thought Jack. "Have you forgotten our deal?" said Willy. "My fingers are itching to make beautiful music for Mary." "Well, you see, there's a problem with that," said Jack, squirming. A frown crossed Willy's face. "A problem?" he said. "How could there be a problem?" "Find your friend, teach Willy to play the whistle. Doesn't get simpler than that." "Right," said Jack. "So what's the problem?" asked Willy. "Well, the whistle." Jack didn't know how to finish. "I'll answer the question," said Annie. "Willy, I'm going to be simple and direct and honest with you." "Yes," said the leprechaun. "Merlin, the magician, gave us the whistle to help us on our missions," said Annie. "The whistle is magic, and the magic only works once. Without the magic, I don't really know how to play, so I can't teach you. There, you have it." "Ah," said Willy. He looked at the floor and shook his head. "Then I'm afraid I'm going to have to turn both of you into chipmunks." "What?" said Jack. Uh-oh. I wonder if he's telling the truth. What do you think? Willy burst out laughing, joking. "Only joking," he said. "Merlin, you should have told me you were friends with Merlin in the first place." "Do you know Merlin?" said Jack. "Oh, yes, we spent a great deal of time together. Must have been about 800 years ago now," said Willy. "How is he?" "He's happy," said Annie. "Good." Willy turned back to Mary and Augusta. "I first met the master magician on the Isles of Merlin in the Irish Sea. He—" Wait, please, Willy," said Augusta. "Mary, do you have a pen and paper?" "No, my dear, I'm afraid I don't," said Mary. "I can help," said Jack. He took his pencil and some notebook out of his pocket. He tore some clean pages out of the notebook. Then he gave the pencil and pages to Augusta. "There," he said. "Oh, thank you, Jack," said Augusta. She turned back to Willy. "All right, continue, please." "Well," said Willy, "Merlin was only a few centuries old then, and I was a mere lad." As Willy told his story, Augusta began to write. Jack put his notebook back into his pocket and nodded to Annie. He nodded back, and the two of them started toward the door. Just as they were about to leave, Annie called out to the others, "Bye." "We have to go home now," said Jack. "Trip lightly," said Willy. "Thank you for everything," said Augusta. 1 in 23 wells, said Mary. "Same to you guys," said Jack. Then he and Annie slipped out of the cottage. The rain was pouring again, and the wind was blowing hard. "I think we inspired Augusta," said Annie. "Yep, we accomplished our mission," said Jack. "Now, let's get out of here." He couldn't wait to go home and get warm and dry. Jack and Annie ran against the wind. They climbed over the stone wall and then hurried down the lane, slipping and sliding in the muck. They ran across the soaked field. By the time they arrived at the rope ladder, their clothes were caked with mud. Jack and Annie climbed into the treehouse. Annie found the Pennsylvania book in the corner. As the rain blew through the window, she pointed to the picture of Frog Creek woods. "I wish we could go there," she said. The wind blew harder. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Then everything was still. Absolutely still. So, that worked out well. Okay, I will see you in a little bit. That was chapter 10. And we have one more chapter left. So, I will see you soon. Keep on reading.